Summer of 1962 found Vincent back on the big screen, collaborating once again with director Roger Corman in Tales of Terror. The third in Corman's Pose series, Tales is an anthology film featuring 3 short films, all based on Edgar Allan Poe's short stories, and all 3 starring Vincent. The film opens with a close-up of a beating heart, with Price voicing an intro for the first film, Morella. Once again, writer Richard Matheson repeats his tried-and-true formula from the first 2 Poe films. A horse-drawn carriage approaches a lonely seaside mansion where Vincent Price, this time playing the character of Locke, lives there alone. Inside the carriage is his daughter Lenora, played by Maggie Pierce, who he hasn't seen for 26 years. The mansion is in a state of serious neglect, a thick layer of dust and cobwebs covering everything. She finds her father upstairs, less than happy to see her. His wife died shortly after Lenora was born, and he sent her away shortly thereafter. He has turned to alcohol to dull the pain and loneliness. Lenora discovers that Locke is keeping her mother's mummified corpse in an upstairs bedroom. He dug it up in a fit of madness shortly after she was buried. She informs her father that she is dying, with only a few months to live. He begs her forgiveness, and they slowly begin to rebuild a relationship, but the vengeful spirit of her dead mother won't let their happiness last, and pays her a ghostly visit. The second story, The Black Cat, is also introduced by voiceover from Price. It is actually a composite of 2 Edgar Allan Poe stories, The Black Cat and The Cask of Amontillado. It follows an incurable drunkard named Montresor Herringbone, played by Peter Lorre, who berates his wife Annabelle, played by Joyce Jameson, demanding money to buy more drink, which she reluctantly hands over. They also own a black cat, which he avoids and abuses as much as he does his wife. He quickly goes through his wife's money and is thrown angrily out of a local pub. On the way home, he stumbles across a wine merchants convention where a champion wine taster named Fortunato Lucrezi, played by Vincent Price, is holding a demonstration. He challenges Fortunato to a taste test, which he agrees to, and matches the master blow for blow, or taste for taste in this case, despite his rather unorthodox technique of gulping entire glasses of wine. Montresor eventually passes out from too much drink, and Fortunato helps him home, where he is introduced to his wife Annabelle. The 2 are immediately smitten with one another. Afterwards, Montresor suddenly finds his wife agreeable to handing over drinking money. All is well until a bartender arouses his suspicions, and he catches Fortunato leaving his house late one evening while he is supposed to be out drinking. He confronts her and she admits everything. The following evening, Fortunato comes to the Herringbone estate for dinner by invitation. He and Montresor share an early glass of Amontillado, but Fortunato finds the evening cut short as his wine was drugged. He awakens in the cellar, chained to the wall beside the corpse of the dead Annabelle. Montresor walls the 2 up with bricks and mortar, leaving them to rot in the dank cellar. All goes well for Montresor afterwards until his loose lips arouse the bartender's suspicion and that of the local police. The third story, again introduced by Price, is the facts in the case of M. Valdemar. The story opens with Mr. Ernest Valdemar, played by Vincent Price, being hypnotized by Carmichael, played by Basil Rathbone. Valdemar is dying of a painful affliction, and Carmichael is able to stave off the pain through hypnotism. His doctor, Dr. James, played by David Frankham, and wife Helene, played by Debra Paget, barely approve of these treatments and don't trust Carmichael. However, they can't argue the effectiveness of the treatment. Carmichael asks for no money for his efforts, only one favor. He gets Valdemar to agree that, on his deathbed, in the point of articulo mortis, the point of death, he allow himself to be hypnotized in order to see how long the effects of death might be delayed. Helene and James protest to no avail. Valdemar has agreed and assures them there is no danger.
I owed this gentleman a great deal, a great deal. I could not dream of refusing him such an insignificant request.
Eventually, the hour of death comes and Carmichael is summoned. He successfully mesmerizes Valdemar and maintains his hold over him throughout the moment of death and beyond. Valdemar begins moaning in a ghostly, echoing voice, informing Carmichael he is in a place of darkness, surrounded by multitudes of people. He moans in agony, begging Carmichael to release him, but Carmichael refuses. He keeps Valdemar in a state of trance for months, despite his protestations. His face has grown pale and is starting to show signs of deterioration. Carmichael continues his cruel domination of Valdemar, refusing his pleas of release until Carmichael's ambition grows too large and includes Helene herself, prompting Valdemar to return from the grave for vengeance. For Tales of Terror, Roger Corman reassembled the same creative crew from his previous Poe films, including cinematographer, art director, editor, and soundtrack composer. The end result was another box office success. Price was very familiar with a number of actors in this film, having worked with them previously, including Basil Rathbone, Peter Lorre, David Frankham, and Debra Paget. Of the three segments, the middle one, the Black Cat, is my favorite, particularly the drinking contest between Price and Lorre, one of the best sequences of any Corman film. This was the first time that Corman injected humor into the series, something he would revisit the following year in The Raven. Next up, Price would once again work with Roger Corman, this time outside the Poe cycle, in the 1962 remake of Tower of London.
Oh, I do enjoy an evening with a little light entertainment. But when your video heads get dirty, you lose your picture. Not a pretty sight. Happily, this new Polaroid video cassette will help you. It actually cleans your heads as it plays, so dirty heads needn't haunt you. New Polaroid video cassettes. Get the picture?